I'm Yvonne Madenge.
Why are you not looking confident, the gracious lady? Okay, proceed.
I'm Yvonne Madenge.
Usijali, sisi tuko hapa.
Director Environment and Climate Change.
I'm Martin Moreidi, accountant for the fund.
Chair, through the Governor, my name is George Mwangi, the Chief Officer in charge of Trade, Cooperatives, Culture and Tourism.
Okay, so we are starting with the Climate Change Fund. There were two issues which, honorable members, we discussed them during the pre-meeting. And the first issue is on compliance, legal compliance. That is late submission of financial statements. And the auditor reported that the financial statements, the reporting timelines is 30th September 2024. But then it was submitted on the 7th of November 2024. So we really don't want to spend much time on this because this is a compliance issue. So maybe, Governor, you can explain to the committee what happened, that the submission was done more than 1 month later.
Thank you very much, Chair. The late submission of our financial statements was as a result of unclear reporting structure from the National Treasury FLOCA Program Implementation Union, the PIU, before the reporting timeline of 30th September. The lack of a reporting template was a challenge since PIU gives condition on how they require the financial reports, whereby deviation of the same calls for non-compliance. After the county's outcry on lack of a reporting template, it was sent on the 25th of September 2024 and thereafter on the 2nd and the 7th October. PIU held a virtual meeting taking the fund accountants, fund administrators, auditors, and the directors through the reporting template, which was still after the submission deadline, resulting in the delay in submission. So that is really what happened.
Auditor, your comments?
Thank you, Chair. The explanation is there, but it was the issue of compliance of law. The law requires that yet so it's law.
So you see, Governor, you have given an explanation, but they say the law is an us. The law is the law.
It's true. It's true.
So
you see, Chair, the problem emanated from Treasury. It is not from us. So that is the challenge, but we are in breach because the law stipulates that date, but we didn't meet the deadline because we couldn't. And sometimes bureaucracy becomes a big challenge, especially around that. And even if we were to say the truth, the structure and of the FLOCA program left counties out. It was just something that was just, so that is a big challenge, but I think we have overcome it now because the dates are there. The other challenge which I need to raise with you, Chair, as the protector of devolution, is also that even the money that was promised never came. It never comes in full, yet it is a loan and that has been taken around, or even a grant. But what the counties receive, as maybe you even see, the next response is that we are expecting 124. We either get it late or it doesn't even come at all. And when it does, it's a challenge. So these are the challenges around FLOCA, which we all want to support because it's about the future of our country. But sometimes we have those challenges. I submit, Chair.
Okay. I would like the legal officer to read out the provisions of the law in regards to this matter.
Thank you, Chair. On the issue of late submission, it's provided for under Section 62 of the Public Conduct Act. Firstly, and there is Section 47 that provides the timelines. That is the timelines for submission of documents for this audit. It should be submitted within 3 months after the end of the fiscal year. And then under Section 62, it's on the offenses of late submission. Under subsection 1 of that said Section 62, it reads that a person shall not, and then the relevant paragraphs is paragraph B and C, without a justification, fail to provide information required under this Act, and then C, without justification, fail to provide information within a reasonable time that is required under this Act, that is the Public Conduct Act. And then the penalty is under subsection 2, that reads a person who contravenes subsection 1, commits an offense, and is liable on conviction to a fine not exceeding 5 million shillings, or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 3 years, or to both. And then, Chair, there is also Section 66 on the same, on eligibility to hold public office, that provides that a person is convicted of an offense under this Act, that is the Public Conduct Act, shall not be eligible to hold public office or work with an entity owned in part by the state for a period of 10 years following the conviction if one is convicted of any offense under the Public Conduct Act. Thank you, Chair.
So you can hear, especially the accounting officers, you know, you can be punished by just this mere delay. Either 3 years imprisonment, a fine of how much?
5 million.
5 million, or both, or you are declared not fit to hold public office. So you strive to make sure that the financial statements are sent to the auditors on or before 30th September 2020, within the whichever year it is. Otherwise, these simple things can mess your life. So, any comment?
No,
Senator
Chair, just my question to the auditor, whether they have compiled the 2024-2025.
Thank you, Chair. They have complied in submission of 2024-2025. In fact, they have already done the audit.
You have?
Yes.
Okay, then we had the query on budgetary control and performance. I am trying to save on time, so I just want the governor, you comment on this. This is about underfunding.
Yes.
And underutilization. So you can tell us what exactly happened.
Chair had just mentioned, but the approved county budget of 23-24 was 212,792,760. But the actual amount received was 124,020,274 as indicated, resulting in an underfunding of about 88,772,186, which was budgeted for but was not released, especially because it was, I think, in the act of the additional, the saga. Yes. Yeah. And you remember the saga we had around that time. Yeah. Now, an expenditure of Kenya shillings 42,528 was incurred as tabulated in our table below, leaving a balance of 81,492,274. So the actual utilization was around 34% and not an utilization of 8% as indicated, because we had spent around 88,772,486. The absorption of funds was as a result of late disbursement, as indicated with tables, with the dates in table 1. The donor fund CCIS and CRIG funds were received past mid-year of financial year 23-24 to the counties, resulting in low absorption. County contribution determined by availability of funds and cash flow from disbursement released to counties by the National Treasury. So we had that challenge. And we have a table there which shows what was approved, what was actually received, and the date it was received, and the variants. Additionally, in accordance to the program grant manual, page 11 to 13, which we have attached, Under the minimum performance condition for CCRI, climate change resilience investment grant, the county was to record an expenditure of more than 50% of the budgeted amount by 31st March. In accordance with the revised program appraisal document, by the time of the assessment, which was set for February 2025, the county was expected to have paid or contracted at least 50% of the funds in the climate change fund account from financial year 2023-24, both from the county contribution and climate change resilience investment grant, which we have given their chair as Annex 2. But really, if you look at that, it is just what I had mentioned. We budget for a figure which has initially comes from Treasury, then somewhere along the line, the money doesn't come. Even when it comes, I do not know whether, Chair, the other person has told you how difficult it is to get approval from the controller of budget. We occasionally keep moving goalposts. Every other day there is this, there is that, until it's a big challenge. So that is why we end up being where we are.
I think I'm interested in knowing more about this, the delay in remitting the additional allocation, because our understanding is the additional allocation, particularly the donor component, is money that has already been released to government. So if it is money that has already been released to government and the Senate has passed the law, why should there be a delay in remitting the money to the counties?
This was a unique year, Chair. I remember that we had even to engage CS Bandy, because the whole idea was that there was the issue of RMLF, which delayed the passing of the SIGA between the two houses. Okay. We had now we realized already that by the time we engaged with him from the SIGA, they had already reduced by 32 billion, the same figures. And we had to now re-engage, and because there was this feeling from Treasury that counties would not be able to absorb that money within the timeline. But we said already, because we had also other timelines set, we had already contracted and engaged, because the figures were in our budgets. We may not have had the cash, but because a figure is in a budget, it allows for procurement and many other things. So that is how we ended up now. I remember reducing the deficit from that to around 24. So that was a challenge. But until we really want to, the truth of the matter is that devolution is under threat, because we can only be powerful devolved units when we get money in time and we spend it as we should. Now the challenge is the money takes time to come. You as the Senate, and I always want to appreciate how hard you have fought for devolution.